Hey everyone, welcome to the church vlog, the Lazy Man's podcast, because it's easier for me to upload onto YouTube than it is to set up a podcast station. So we're here to discuss the questions on how the church can engage with culture, leverage media, without spending countless hours or hiring a tech professional. So today we actually have a special guest, Chris Kabari, who runs several different things, but what you're really kind of been putting a lot of focus on is your blog, right?
Yeah, primarily my blog.
Great. And what's it's the Chris Kabari blog, right?
ChrisKabariblog.com.
Great. And what do you guys kind of do on that?
It's basically, general Christian living. So like theology, day to day, with Christ, and just what life is like as a believer, as a Christian. Thinking through the deeper issues, the tougher topics, how to give credible answers to those questions. So
Awesome. Well, cool, Chris. Well, I mean, you and I, we've known each other for quite some time here. And, we've done youth ministry together for countless years now, but go ahead and tell our audience a little bit about yourself, what you kind of do for a living, and some of the things that you currently are kind of involved in.
Yeah, so I do ministry at LifeGate Denver. I'm a part of the Student Life youth group, so I help lead that youth group, just teaching the teens, showing them life on life discipleship. I run the website when I can, when I have free time. It's not a full-time job or anything. It's more of a hobby at this point, but trying to make it a job eventually. And then I'm a full-time video editor at AvidMax. It's a fly fishing warehouse in Colorado in the DTC area. So they're trying to boost their social media influence. So they hired me and just to create that space, to draw in viewers and all that to the YouTube.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. So, Chris, you kind of have you kind of dabbled in just about everything. You do blogs, you do vlogs, you do online creation, Facebook memes, all these things. Why do you think it's important that Christians leverage technology?
Because I think Jesus did. I think Jesus used all of the tools and all of the cultural, what do you call it? Language of his time to draw people into the gospel message. He would relate to people in very specific ways that only that culture or that person could understand. And we need to do the same, where we need to speak in a way that they understand. We don't need to be so strict, I think, with our Christianese. We need to kind of let that go and talk on their level.
Yeah.
A lot of Christians forget.
For sure. Yeah. I think that's huge. There's a popular debate. You kept on mentioning culture. And there's generally kind of three different levels where people can kind of stand. You can either be Christ and the culture, that we can be beneath the culture, or we can be above the culture. Where do you think is kind of the balance for that Christians need to kind of stand?
I think the balance between above and below the culture would be having a firm footing on what the gospel is, and then also having a good understanding of modern public communication. Knowing how people communicate these days, which is through video, which is through texting, which is through parties even. It's not your traditional door-to-door talking anymore. No one does that except Mormons, and they're weird.
Right.
They stand out for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And they're also false. But anyway, the culture's changed and we need to change with it. We don't need to lose our message. We just need to change our method.
I like it.
So I think the best way is to really understand the message and then understand how to wrap it, how to cover it, present it to people.
Yeah. Awesome. So what our vlog kind of focuses on is we focus on saving time and getting the most out of the limited time that a lot of ministers or church workers have, right? A lot of us are doing this part-time, a lot of us are doing this bivocational. So if a leader could only create one source of media, what do you think is the best thing for them to kind of invest their time in?
I think the best way would probably be a sit-down vlog. So there's a guy on YouTube, David Wood. He does a lot of these where he does these 5 to 10 minute sit-down vlogs. Now his are focused on apologetics and encountering Muslims. So it's a very specific niche, but you can use that same method to do weekly updates or weekly messages, from your office, from the comfort of your home. You just need a laptop or a smartphone, and you can post just about any type of message, that's engaging. They see you. You're just sitting, but that stuff gets people's attention, for sure. So, within that 5 to 15 minute range is what you're looking for of the type of vlogs you want to do on YouTube.
Okay. So what do you think is the importance of video ministry? Like, why do we as a church need to spend more time doing video content? Why can't we just continue to write our blogs like Desiring God and such?
Yeah. So I think it's because in our culture, everything's by the minute. It's not by the hour or the day or the week. When people come to church, we ask them how their week was. Well, a lot happens in the week online, within a matter of hours. We had a new Supreme Court justice appointed. We had hurricanes in the world, affecting the climate. We had wars in the Middle East. There's so much going on that we know about because of social media that when you ask somebody how their week's going, sometimes they don't actually know how to respond because they've heard about everyone else and what they're going through online. Mm-hmm. So a good way to connect with people is that people these days like to talk about other people. So we have to learn how to talk about those people and then bring it back to the gospel, and to the person of the gospel, Jesus.
Yeah.
Because we're a gossip-driven culture. America is very focused on that celebrity drive. How these people got successful, why they're successful, the big news stories of the day. So we have to address those topics, but then bring it back to ultimate truth,
Yeah.
Well, why is this evil? Why is this good? Why should we care about this political figure? Stuff like that. Giving a biblical perspective to the situation.
So if I'm hearing you right, like video ministry is ideal because we can do that more by the minute stuff. Vlogging takes more time, takes more editing, takes more sitting down. It's hard for us to keep up with the trend, right?
Right.
So, okay. Interesting. What do you think are some of the dangers of video media? Like what are some of the pitfalls that we could easily run into?
I think one of the big ones would definitely be forgetting why we're doing it in the first place. The church is really good at getting things done, but then we forget why we do it in the first place. We can get too focused in that small business perspective of just trying to get a profit of people going in and out through our doors, but we need to remember why we do it in the first place, why we're doing all of this work. There's a reason behind it, serving Jesus and getting the gospel out, changing lives. So we have to remember what we're doing is driven by why we're doing it, and if we lose that why, then there's no reason we should be doing anything.
Yeah. Do you think there are other dangers as well of not only like theological and practical, but more on the practical side, I guess. The dangers that we could fall into with media.
Yeah, well, I think the church is really we're kind of known for being behind on the times or being too obsessed with certain things in the culture. So by the time we're using slang, it's usually old, right? By the time the church adopts certain music styles, like rap was a really big deal, 30 years ago when the church started introducing rap into the church culture. A lot of people didn't know how to react to that, but again, it was changing the method to get the message out. So I think just being flexible and adaptable and not being so rigid to things we might not prefer, but that works, So we just need to be a lot less strict on what isn't, the right method.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think part of that comes down to us just kind of studying the cultural artifacts of our time and just kind of knowing what it is and why it's there, right? Like, what are the trends? What's the text behind the world, the text of the world, and the text in front of it, right? So, when we're talking about these media sources, we need to be aware of why they're even there in the first place and their intended purpose, right? Mm-hmm. So, what do you think are sort of new doors that video that filming and videoing has kind of opened up for us, and what do you think it's kind of closed?
So I think it's definitely closed the traditional live streaming, where you have a one camera setup. It's set on the main service of a church, whatever. It's very stagnant, it's not very engaging when you have these one camera setups in churches, that just sit there. They're not even manned by a person. We need to be more thoughtful with how we create video content. So some of the ways we can do that is using, social media. For instance, Instagram has an Instagram TV now where they're trying to compete with YouTube. So it's basically YouTube on Instagram. You can post videos, you can like, comment, share, whatever. But they're trying to create another platform on Instagram so that you stay on there longer and watch more content, watch movies, TV, blogs, all of that stuff. YouTube's another good one to use. It just keeps growing. Vimeo, a lot of pastors use Vimeo, but it's not a good site.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people there.
Yeah.
Pretty dead.
Yeah. Why do you think people watch YouTube so much? Like, why is YouTube it's sustained throughout all these years from just being what it is? Like, Facebook has drastically changed and innovated, but YouTube as a whole has generally kind of stayed the same thing. What do you think about is YouTube that has drawn people in continuously, and why it's a good source for the church to go to?
Yeah. Well, I think if we remember why, again, being engaged in the culture, YouTube started with home videos. Like America's Funniest Home Videos used to be the thing that families would sit down and watch late at night, as a family. Well, now that's YouTube. People watch viral videos, they watch vlogs, they watch political campaigns. Everything's on YouTube. You keep up with the culture on YouTube. And it's very personal too. You can make a video today, edit it, and then upload it, and it's out there for anyone to see, but it could be about anything you want to do, so it's a very open platform, but it inspires a lot of creativity because there's not a lot of restrictions as far as the audience expectation.
Yeah.
They kind of want to be entertained. They kind of want to learn something. And if you can kind of do those two things, you're going to get an audience very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, we're running out of time here, Chris, so I appreciate you taking the time, and it's awesome hearing what you have to say and stuff. If people want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, you can follow along on my blog as I, post about the deeper things in life, deeper questions, and all that. ChrisKabariblog.com, or you can just follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or Snapchat. I'll be on there as well. So,
okay, awesome. It's just Chris Kabari. You don't have like a bunch of weird numbers behind your
no, just Chris Kabari.
Like that.
No, Chris Kabari.
Awesome, man. Great. Well, thank you guys for joining us here today. I hope you guys have found this valuable. If you did, give it a like, give it a share. Let me know what you guys think and what you guys want more of. Every week we're rolling out new videos and episodes, so be sure to subscribe so you can catch up what's latest and what's new. So, all right. Peace out, guys. All right. Come on. Come on.